Shalom everybody, it's me Mr. Tall 23. Today I guess I wanted a change of scenery because I was getting pretty tired of filming videos in my room only, and maybe you were getting tired of seeing that same background as well. But today I just want to talk about some recent events, because now that I think about it, I haven't really been making many videos on things that have been going on in the world. I used to do that a lot. Whenever a big event happened with Syria or North Korea or the election or something like that, I would make a video every 2 or 3 weeks for a few months at the beginning of this Gregorian year. But now, for the last few months, I haven't really been doing anything, even though a lot has happened. And you know what I'm talking about. The war with North Korea, I think, is escalating. It's I think a war with North Korea will happen sometime in the future. I don't know if it's going to happen soon. And here's my theory about what North Korea is trying to do. China has said that if North Korea attacks first, then they're going to back the United States. But if North Korea is attacked by the United States first, China is going to work with North Korea. So what I think North Korea is trying to do is threaten the US and test nuclear weapons to the point of that America attacks first, a preemptive strike to try and destroy the regime, so then China would attack the United States. And you know, China has the largest military in the world, with the combined power of China and North Korea, which, by the way, they said that they had like 4.7 million citizens sign up. I don't know if that's true. And then they're increasing their nuclear power too. Just about a month ago, they tested a nuclear hydrogen weapon, and the yield was estimated at between like 150 and 250 kilotons, which compared to some nuclear bombs isn't that much, but it's still a lot. If it hit a city like San Francisco, or a city on the coast like Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, or a city in Hawaii like Honolulu, it would cause hundreds of thousands of deaths. It would be a lot more devastating than any of the nuclear weapons which North Korea has tested before. And then they're increasing their arsenal too. And they've also begun to work with Iran, which has tried to increase its nuclear capabilities, and they said that once they get a nuclear weapon, they will attack Israel. And with them, they're also allied with some other states in the area, like Syria, and also the terror groups like Hezbollah, which has said that they have 10,000 soldiers ready to fight Israel. That was an article I saw recently. And what I've been doing is I've just been reading the news, trying to keep up with all of this information. I'm going to go to Breitbart, Jerusalem right now to try and see if there's anything new going on. Just because a lot of there's also been the Las Vegas massacre. That was the deadliest attack in American history, or deadliest shooting in American history. I think like 60 dead, over 500 injured. Before that, like, it was the Orlando shooting, with the Muslim guy shooting all the gay people in the bar or whatever, and that was like 50 dead and 100 injured, I don't know, something like that. Hezbollah chief warns non-Zionist Jews to flee Israel before it's destroyed. That was something from yesterday. And I was reading that Hezbollah and Hamas and Iran and Lebanon and Syria are, like, it may happen in a few months, that even before that, maybe even during Sukkot, the coming Feast of Sukkot, or it could not happen, or there's a possibility that won't happen until like until the winter or until next year. But things are starting to escalate, and you can tell that just by reading the news. Also, other tensions in the Middle East include the Kurdish independence vote, which Turkey has threatened to Kurdistan, and Iraq has threatened Kurdistan. They've tried to shut down their airports and things like that. And I think there's going to be a civil war, because they've already had the independence referendum vote, and I support Kurdistani independence. I think they should be independent from Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and Iran, and have their own state in the Middle East. Israel supports them too, and there's I think I read an article where somebody, I think it was from Iran, or Iraq, was saying that Israel was behind the vote, and they're responsible for all of this. So I think that's going to tie into this war. And then also another war which may happen is in Spain with Catalan independence. There's pretty much martial laws being declared in Catalonia because they tried to have an independence referendum and Spain wouldn't let them. Venezuela is another thing. There's been tensions between the United States and Venezuela because their dictator is not good at ruling the people, and they're causing a lot of economic mess. People are literally eating zoo animals and their pets over there. They're running out of toilet paper, running out of everything. They can't afford anything because of socialist corruption. And what else has been going on? The hurricanes, I haven't talked about that. That caused a lot of destruction. And also the feasts which came 2 days ago, 2 days ago was Yom Kippur. And I celebrated that. I didn't eat that day, as afflict your souls it is commanded. I didn't work. That was okay. The Day of Atonement is a day where you're supposed to repent. It's like the 10 days of awe get technically the 10 days of repentance, and the Yom Kippur is like the final day. It's like, okay, now everything is set. This is the Day of Atonement. This is the Day of Judgment. This year nothing's happened. I don't know if it's because we were wrong about what dates it would occur. Maybe it could happen later this year, because I was also reading about this prophecy from this like Jewish rabbi. I think it was a rabbi from like the 1200s. The prophecy was made in 1217 by this man named Judah ben Samuel. He's also called Judah the Pious. And I was reading about it, and apparently like the first person to talk about this prophecy was in like 2008. He posted, I can't remember his name, but he posted it on Israel Today in 2008. He had been reading the manuscripts, but Michael Rood said that he saw the manuscripts too, so I don't know whether to trust him on that or not. It seems that he's a pretty honest person. However, it seems to me that he's been corrupted a little bit. I don't know if he was telling the truth about seeing the manuscript and seeing the prophecy, if it actually was a real prophecy written by Judah ben Samuel, or if it was a forgery made in the 2000s. I'm not sure if that's true or not, because Michael Rood used to live in Israel. He probably talked with this guy, whoever translated it and published it in the Israeli newspaper. But the prophecy said that the Ottoman Empire would hold Jerusalem for 8 jubilees. That's 400 years, and they did from 517 to 1917. Then for 1 jubilee would be called No Man's Land. That was true from 1917 to 1967. 1 jubilee would be in the hands of the Jews, 1967 to 2017, and then the next jubilee would like begin the end times Messianic age, or would go into that. And so that may, if the prophecy was right, then he was accurate for the first part of it. Maybe he's right about the 2017, but nothing's happened on Yom Teruah, nothing's happened on Yom Kippur. I was watching a video. I think it was I can't remember who it was by. I think it was from Daniel John Lee from Torah Restoration Ministries. I mean, he was. I think he said like Hanukkah is when it would occur, and that probably makes sense, because it seems like in history there's always a dual fulfillment of something. It's possible that maybe Syria has something to, because Syria in the past with Antiochus, they did something with abomination, but no, because that would be halfway through the 7 years. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I've prayed for enlightenment. I've prayed for understanding of prophecy. I've been doing a lot of research lately. I've been trying to figure out what everything means, because it seems that what I previously thought may be wrong, but then it could be right still, because it makes sense. So, or it's just possible that we could have our dates off, and maybe Judah ben Samuel was just fake. I mean, it's very extremely possible that's what the case is. But like people have been saying, 70 years since Israel became a nation. Well, it's actually only been 69 years. I don't know how you can get 70 between 1948 and 2017. Even in Hebrew years, it's only been 69 years. It hasn't been 70 years since Israel became a state. And you know, they're always citing that has Michael Rood. For example, he says, has the Almighty not shown us the Jubilees? Because 50 years ago, because the Jubilee year is the year of when debts are forgiven and the land is returned to the original owner. 50 years ago, 1967, was when Jerusalem came into the hands of the Jews again. 50 years before that, which is 50 years is a Jubilee cycle, is when General Allenby took the Jerusalem back from the Arabs, and the Balfour Declaration was signed, and it basically Britain promised to give the land of Israel, or the land they called it Palestine, to the Jews sometime in the future. So that was 50 years. That it's possible that 2017 may also be a Jubilee year, or that could just be a coincidence. We don't know. And I think it all has to do with when the Messiah lived and reigned, because the prophecy of Hosea chapter 6, that after 2 days he would raise us, or after 2 days he would raise us up, on the third day he would revive us. And that also has to do with the Yom Teruah prophecy, because they had 2 days to prepare, and then on the morning of the third day, the trumpets were sounded, and all of Israel had to go to the base of Mount Sinai. And then after that, Moses went up to the mountain and he received the Ten Commandments. So they had 2 days to prepare. Whether they were ready or not on the third day, they would have to go. I think that's because, like, the blowing of the trumpets signals the return of the Messiah. I think that's a prophecy that has to relate to the original coming of the Messiah, and because after 2 days, on the third day, that it would be 2,000 years after the Messiah originally came. Because if you look very carefully at the dates, a lot of dates have been given since creation. I've come up with the date of 3,976, although it could be off by a few years, like plus or minus 5 years maybe. Depends on when the Messiah was born, and it depends on when the temple was originally destroyed, when the Israelites were in Babylon, and also when Artaxerxes' command was given, because some say like 456, some say 457, some say 458, some say 459. It's like, because they're ancient dates, because they're a long time ago, nobody really knows when Yeshua was like born. It can only be figured out because Herod, we know a lot more about Herod than we know about Yeshua's date of birth and date of death. So Herod died in like 4 BCE, but then I also been reading some articles that said he might have died in 1 BCE. So it's all confusing, and it may be next year would be the beginning of the 7-year period, maybe the year after, maybe the year after that, maybe the year after that. I think the latest possible, if this prophecy is true, if this interpretation of prophecy is true, then the latest would be 2029 at the time of the return of the Messiah. And a lot of people are saying, like, nobody knows when the Messiah is coming, because it's the day and hour no man knows. Well, Yom Teruah is called the day and that no man knows, because it's like you can't determine it until you see the new moon. And people are saying, oh, because of NASA, and they can figure it out in advance, and sometimes they can, but sometimes they're wrong, and sometimes, and it also depends, because it also depends on when the year starts, and the year starts according to the Aviv Barley, and that's something you can't predict. You can't predict if it's going to be ready or not. So it may be a month later and a month earlier, and then by that time, I don't think NASA's going to be around. I think the world's going to be in ruins about a year before the Messiah returns. I don't think you're going to just go on the internet and look it up and see what the time is. And also, Yeshua was talking to people who didn't know back then. Okay, if it's possible that the last generation may know, but when he said no man knows, it could have been, or no man knows when the Messiah is coming, only the Father knows. He could have meant that nobody knows at this time. Maybe some people know in the future, because they would have a lot of time to figure out the prophecy and understand. We've had 2,000 years to understand, hundreds of generations of people figuring out, writing, people like Isaac Newton and such. Anyway, that's all for today. I think I've ranted a lot. Here's one thing I need to say. I always forget, and I don't like it when that happens. I'm probably not going to right now I'm on break. Okay, so we have like 2-week breaks every like 9 or 10 weeks at my school, or sometimes it's like in the winter it's 3 weeks. So I have a break for the fall, and this is my last week right now. But I think I won't be able to do many videos because I'm busy with a lot of other things, and also because my message isn't really working. I think in the past 8 months, with everything I've done on social media, with YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, some other things, and also personally, I've maybe converted or changed the minds of maybe 3 or 4 people, and that's it. And that still counts, because turning anybody to the Almighty is good, and I like that. I like when people figure out the truth. I like when people stop their wicked ways, and when they understand who the Messiah is and who the creator of the universe is. However, this generation is really stubborn. A lot of people don't want to get rid of their cherished beliefs. They don't want to get rid of a lot of their beliefs that they believed in the past, and they won't listen. Some people are very good listeners, and some people like to do their own research. Even if I tell them something, they look it up themselves, and they won't be stubborn. I've made videos on this. There are a lot of Mormon people I know, a lot of Catholic people I know. There's one Catholic I know who I've just like completely destroyed, like things like the Trinity doctrine and their idea of hell. But he just doesn't seem to be listening. He's just like laughing, and he's not even trying to debate. I know he can't, and he's saying wow, but then he's just like, he just doesn't care. There are other people like atheists who I try to tell them to turn them to the Messiah, and I try to tell them why their beliefs are wrong, and they just say, well, I don't care. It's like this generation, they don't care about their life. They don't care about the Creator. They don't care about other people. And I don't know how you respond to that. If somebody says, I just don't care, how do you make them care? Because if you give them a reason, if you try to give them a reason, they just say, well, I don't care about that. It's difficult for that. And most of my subscribers are either inactive, or the people who actually watch are just people who share similar views. And what's the point of, I guess people who share similar views, it could be entertaining sometimes to maybe learn new things that they didn't know, that I figured out or something like that, or that I learned or I researched and they haven't researched or learned yet. And I could tell them this thing, anything of what I learned, and they could say, wow, that's interesting. But most of the people who watch my videos agree with me on most of my things. So it's not like I'm changing people's lives. I have a very small channel, and it's not growing at all. And I don't really care. Okay, a lot of people care about like making money off of YouTube. I don't care about that. I don't monetize any of my videos, because if I want to make a living, I don't have to make a living, because my parents provide for me, and Yehovah provides for me, and anything I need, I can just go and get it myself. If I want something, I can produce something. I can produce actual things, and I'm not going to make money off of doing stuff like this. And I don't need to do that now anyway, because I'm still in school. I'm still in high school. I'm only 15 years old. I'm not gonna, in the future, when I have like a family, if I can do that before coming on the side, if any of our interpretations are right, if that's even possible, then I would provide. How did I get off on this time? Anyway, what I was saying, like, I'm probably not going to make many videos, and if I do, it's not going to be like the videos you've been seeing. Probably, like I may make some videos for Sukkot, may not really about what Sukkot's about, but just videos that are more entertaining, videos that are for fun, because a lot of the information that I'm going to say on this channel, like, because to make a video, what I need to do is I need to type out my notes. Like in this video, I'm just improvising, I'm just saying random stuff on my mind. And normally I type out my notes, and then I get my camera. If it's not charged, I need to wait for it to charge. Then I get my camera, I set it in position, I film, I read off my notes. So sometimes I add some, or a lot of the time I read what's on the screen. I read the notes that I write in like a document, and then I explain it, or I come up with my own thing, because sometimes I just have some stuff floating around and I'm like, oh, I should have added this in, but it's too late now. And so I just say that. And then I need to, after I film the video, typed it out, filmed the video, I sometimes edit it or upload it. It depends on how long the video is. It depends on if I've made any mistakes, then I would need to edit it, and then I upload it to YouTube. And that takes a lot more time than just writing an article on my blog, which only takes one step. It's all just the writing, and that's it. And of course I need to do an equal amount of research and an equal amount of writing for the video. I just don't need to film, I don't need to edit, I don't need to upload. So a lot of the things that I could be saying on this channel, I could just be, now that I have this thing on WordPress, I could just be writing that out on there, and I have been doing that. If you look on there, there's a lot of interesting articles, I think. I have another writer on there who's only posted 2 things so far. I think one actual real article, and then one just like an introducing himself. And then I've put a lot of articles on there already, and a lot of them are things that you'll find on this channel. A lot of them are new things that you won't find on this channel. Like I've learned a lot of interesting things in the last few weeks from doing that, and you know. So that's it. That's all I have to say. I guess I have to go into this video. It's way too long already. I look old. Like, I look older than I actually am. I need to get a haircut too. And also, like my beard's shorter because it got trimmed. Wasn't my choice, but it's not shaven off for those who maybe, but it's just shorter because it's all scraggly or whatever. Anyway, goodbye.